The Minnesota Wild Podcast is presented exclusively by Acrisure.
Well, John, first off, an update on your captain, Jared Spurgeon, and his availability.
Yeah, Spurgey, he's doing well. He's not going to play tonight, but I'd classify him right now as day-to-day.
And with that, any other lineup changes, and who is your goalie?
Gus is going to be in net, and then Bogo will come in, so Petrie will be in as well. So that'll be a couple lineup changes with Spurgey out. It'll be the same forward group.
You generated 50 shots last time. From a team perspective, what do you need to duplicate tonight?
Well, I thought we made really good decisions with the puck. I thought we put ourselves in positions where we could be on top of Florida and have a strong checking game in the offensive zone. I thought our puck battles were really good. We won races to the net. I think our D-man had a shot mentality. I think our forwards, when we were in B areas of the ice, or maybe not quality looks, I thought we delivered pucks into that area of the ice. We had bodies there, and it's hard. It was hard on the goalie, and I think it gives you an opportunity when you play like that where you can get on top of teams and kind of control territory and make it hard on the goalie.
How much do you focus on a guy like Pasternak, who looks like one of the real elite goal scorers in the world? Yeah,
Paster's always a challenge to coach against. He can attack you in so many different ways. He's good off the rush. He's got the lethal shot. He's a highly competitive guy. So, there's certain tendencies that you show the team of what he is, but then it comes lots of times against a player like that. It does come down to execution and awareness and making sure you're doing a good job of making the game hard for him.
Any changes up front at all?
Nope, same lineup.
As the lines worked really well last game, as a coach down the stretch, when do you want to have those kind of figured out by, I guess? And you experimented the last couple of weeks with them?
Yeah, I think it's part of going down the stretch, like we said, is getting some chemistry, seeing some different combinations. And, I don't think there's going to be wholesale changes of moving guys in and out, but I do think that we will look at, if we do take a player out, it would be to look at a different type of combination. But with Foligno coming back and then seeing Nick in the middle with Marcus coming back, seeing what that line looks like, what he looks like at center. I thought McCarron's line, him in that third slot with Brink and Johansson, what would that line look like? So I think we know, our top six, we switched it back a little bit. So I don't necessarily think sometimes it's totally all about the combinations. It's the style of game and the intensity level that the guys play with. But I was saying in the Florida game that those lines had good chemistry, played the right way, and they were effective.
What's the conversation like with Kurov? I know he hadn't been scratched since November pretty much, but for a young player to go through that this time of year.
Yeah, it's he's matured so much, Yuri, and I think he's at a different point for him as well. I think it's understanding how far he's grown and the steps that he's taken, but it's not so much that we're unhappy with him. There's different things that we want to look at. I think as a young centerman, he understands that. He had a good work day today. We do. After this game, we do have a little bit of a break, and then I said down the stretch, we'd like to see him with some different guys as well. So it's all part of the process. Sturmy hasn't played in a few games, so we're going to have to, look to get him in soon here. So, Yuri's just part of that mix right now.
The Bruins, Sean, fighting for their playoff lives. What have you seen from them on tape?
Well, they're a hard-working team. I think they play a strong team game. They're very competitive. Strong D-core. Sway's great in net. The power play is good. So I think when you look at the dynamic that they bring, they're a group that plays a strong team game with great work ethic, and that's always a challenge when you're facing a group like that. And obviously, where they're at in their season, that when you're in those races, it's every game is vitally important. So we're expecting to have a highly competitive game tonight.
What do you get to know about Matt Boldy's game when you see him every day, as opposed to someone who's more casually observing him?
Yeah, I think that a player like Matt, you see the recognition because of his offensive abilities, but he's a highly competitive player. He's very good on both sides of the puck. He can play against top players because he's defensively responsible, very smart, but at the same time he's also a player that you like him in those situations because it's not just defending. He can push offense against top D pairs and top lines, and I would just say just the growth of his game to me is that he's very consistent in how he plays. His competitive level doesn't veer off. His details don't veer off. There's games where he gets points and he's very productive. There's other games where maybe the puck doesn't go in for him, he doesn't get points, but he still is a guy that every night he finds a way to help the team win.
John, when it comes to generating offensive chances, how much is it of a point of emphasis? Is it the cross ice, the east-west plays when you're looking maybe like below the dots, right dot to left dot, just because the chances are probably going to be better when you make that pass?
Yeah, it's timing on those. I think that there has to be, like we talked earlier, I think when you do have a shot mentality, I think early in shifts and when you get in the offensive zone, it breaks teams down, and then you recover rebounds, and I think then those plays open up. It's when the team is in very strong defensive structure, the east-west plays don't work. You have to try to establish some offensive zone territory and time in that with a shot mentality, and then as you hit puck recoveries or the team scrambles a little bit out of that, that's when a lot of those plays open up. So it's not that you're looking for it all the time, it's you have to look for it at the right time.
The best place to go for all your Minnesota Wild audio needs is the official Minnesota Wild podcast presented by Acrisure. Everything Minnesota Wild related, including highlights, press conferences, players, coaches, general managers, and more. It's available on the official Minnesota Wild podcast presented by Acrisure. It's all just a click away at wild.com/podcast.